Hello, hello, Kevin Keegan today.
Right, guys. Okay, smile. We're going on air in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, we're live. Yeah. Watch.
Oh my God. Oh, that's flexible.
Very. Who's this one?
Didi Haman.
How does that say Didi Haman? Yeah. I'm making sure you can read mine. You can't read this one. This says Didi Haman, okay? And this says Kevin Keegan. Now, this you can read. This, Didi Haman. Cheers.
The king has been played unforgivably. We have dreams and songs to sing of the glory of the field of Anfield Road.
Wow, that was amazing. Those are all the Liverpool fans here flocking at the restaurant because the great Kevin Keegan is here. Thank you, Kevin, for
Beautiful
being a
singing
part
as
of
well. Beautiful voices.
singing, yeah. Being a part of
They've got
Bola.Mamak.
a
Thank
great
you.
career ahead of them, those guys.
And we have the usual suspects here: Craig, Ross, Zach, and
Are they
Des.
Liverpool fan or Kevin Keegan fan? I'm not pretty sure. They must be Kevin Keegan fan
Yeah.
rather than Liverpool fan.
Because there are also a few Newcastle supporters here around there, yeah.
A few
So
Geordies.
he's definitely a Kevin Keegan fan.
They're Geordies.
Okay, let's get straight to the point because all our fans out there, they knew you were coming to the show and they've been flooding our timeline on Facebook and also our email inbox to ask you questions. And the first question comes from Sulaiman Gerard. If I'm not mistaken, he's somewhere around here as well. Well, his question is, compare your love for Liverpool FC and Newcastle FC.
Oh, wow. Well, Liverpool was the team, with Bill Shankly. When I went there, I was just a boy, and he made me a man. So my connection with Liverpool is, from a professional point of view, they made me a footballer. You know, I was just a boy. My connection with Newcastle is slightly different because my father was born in Newcastle, and even though I was born outside, he always talked about Newcastle United. So my roots are in Newcastle in terms of family, but my heart, when they play each other, you know, the game on Sunday was perfect for me because it finished 1-1, and that's perfect. I love both clubs, and the supporters were good to me at both clubs, so I don't have to choose. You know, sometimes we used to lose 4-3 there, you may remember. But they were trying to make it 4-4, but it just didn't work out. But, my heart's in both those places, and when you play or manage clubs like that, you know, it's a love affair for life. You don't choose.
What made you move from Liverpool to Hamburg?
I've been at Liverpool 6 seasons, and when Bill Shankly left and Bob Paisley took over, I like Bob Paisley, I respected him, but it didn't feel the same as a club for me. And some people like Ian Callaghan played 850 games. That's all he ever wanted to do. I think some of the people like myself, after 4 or 5 years, you're ready to move on and try something different.
Right.
And that's what I did. And I went to Germany, and I learned another language. We won a league. We lost a European Cup final.
You won Football of the Year twice, yes.
I managed to do that, but and probably that helped not playing in England. Doing well outside of England. Maybe I got some votes from the other journalists because it's voted for by journalists, So.
Yeah. And Matthew Jerome basically has the same mindset as you because he asked something along those lines. But he asked, do you have any regrets for leaving Liverpool for Hamburg?
No regrets. a lot of people ask me that as well because Liverpool went on to be even better.
Bob Paisley won everything, didn't he?
Yeah, yeah. You know, and he deserved to because, you know, the clever thing about Bob Paisley, Bill Shankly set it all up. And when Bill Shankly left, there was nothing wrong with Liverpool. I think if they brought someone else in from outside, they would want to make changes to stamp their sort of view on it. But Bob Paisley just let the ship sail on. They bought Kenny Dalglish for 60,000 less than what they sold me for. So that was quite a good bit of business. Very good bit of business. And then they went on to be more successful. But the foundations, and Bob Paisley, if he was still alive, would be the first to say it and always did, were laid by Bill Shankly. You know, his love for the club, you know, everything was for the supporters, but not like now where, you know, players you'll see them kiss the badge one week and then they'll be gone the next. He loved the club so much that when he retired, he went and stood in the Kop.
Did he mean it when he said football's more than life and death?
More important than, someone said once he took his wife for an anniversary to watch a reserve game, and he also said it wasn't a reserve game, it was actually Preston against someone, it was a first team game, but he did take his wife for her anniversary to a football match, because he loved football, he lived for football, you know, and when he retired he stood in the Kop, and I went to take a corner, and they were all going, Shankly, Shankly, and pointing. Yeah. And I looked and he was there. He was stood in the Kop amongst 26,000 fans. Wow. I took the corner and screwed it up. I thought a bit shaking his head. I put that in the Kop as well. I thought, if he's good enough for Bill Shankly to be in the Kop, the ball better go in there. But that's which manager now, any manager would go and stand in the Kop. I mean, that's his love.
Kevin, you played for Liverpool for 6 seasons, and then you played with Hamburg, and you played for England. So you play in the European continent. Being a small-sized footballer, can you share with the viewers, nation which is a small size, same size like you and myself? So
yeah.
How do you manage yourself, being a small-sized player, competing with the big-sized European players?
Well, my father...
And you got two Ballon d'Or.
Well, my father told me that the bigger they are, the harder they fall. But that's not really true. The bigger they are, the harder they hit you, you know? That's what I found. What I did at a young age, I was at a small team called Scunthorpe, and there was one player who was so fit, a fullback called Derek Enstead, and I thought, I want to be as fit as him, and I used to copy him. I didn't know why, I was still only 16, but he used to run up the stand with the weights, and he used to run around the track, and I used to follow him. And when I got to Liverpool, I realised that just by look, I was so much fitter than everybody else. Even when I went to Liverpool, even with the strict training there, people like Tommy Smith and Emily Hughes and that used to say, hey, slow down, slow down. I was so fit. And the one thing I would say to all young players, you've got to have ability to get to the top in anything, don't get me wrong. But the one thing you can really do is your fitness. You're in control. You rely on a coach to coach you, a manager to pick you. But fitness training you can do on your own, and if you get yourself really fit, it's amazing what you can do. You know,
it's more detail that makes the difference.
It took me beyond much more skillful players, because while they were practicing the skills which you have to have, I was doing that, but also working, and I started to learn that to play up front, you have to have a bit of padding. You know, when the guy's 6 foot and he's trying to knock you. So all those things, but the other thing is, you have to have desire. That's the main thing. You have to want to be. So you have to have a big heart. You can be small,
but have a big heart.
But you can have a big heart.
Okay, this question comes from Mark Leon. He asked, can Liverpool still be considered a top 4 club?
Well, a lot of Liverpool supporters here.
If they were
I'm going to say yes. Liverpool are a big club. They're, you know. But if you ask me honestly, and I'll always try to be honest, at the moment, they're way behind, and a lot further than I think they thought. You know, I think people thought 3 or 4 years ago, when they finished 4th and they had a late run to get there, they thought Liverpool were coming back. But I think that just masked over the problems. When people like Alonso started to leave, and they didn't replace them with as good a quality players, it started. I think Liverpool are now, in my opinion, they have Suarez, who if he stops diving around, could be one of the greatest Liverpool players ever because he has everything. And Gerrard, obviously. After that, you're really struggling to find what I call the other 3 or 4 players you need because you can't win a league with 2 players or 3. I never played in a championship winning side with just 2 or 3 good players. It's not enough. You need 5 or 6, and then you can have 4 or 5 who are good one week and not so good the next.
Isn't
Yeah, they're behind.
the sensible way ahead for Liverpool ground share with Everton? Wouldn't it?
If you're talking about common sense, yes.
But it's got nothing to
It's
do
not
with
going to happen. Common sense has got nothing to do with football in terms of the Everton fans don't really want it, the Liverpool fans don't really want it, and yet, in many ways, it is the sensible answer.
Yeah.
Make it blue one week like they do in Munich,
exactly.
make it red the next. But it's not going to happen, so don't go there. It's a waste of time because English football, some of the things that come out of it are just...
But the next
Why?
best thing is to keep Anfield, surely. That's a great decision to keep Anfield, yeah?
I think that's a good decision now because they can get on with developing Anfield and making it a better place, which they can. I think they're trying to push it out.
They pushed it out, yes.
For me, as an ex-player, and I'm sure if you talk to some of the older fans, all my memories, all my dreams, everything is in Anfield. So from a selfish point of view, I don't want them to move. You know, Scunthorpe United, my first club, moved, and my ground's now in a supermarket, you know? It's got a little sign saying this was the old showground. I don't want that to happen with Liverpool. So from a personal point of view, selfishly, I guess, stay there. That's where all your father's memories are, or mine. I know you're a Man United fan, but even some of your memories will be in Anfield, so develop it.
Do you think Brendan Rodgers is laying down the foundations for Liverpool to potentially be a top 4 club?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, he's saying he needs 3 years. I mean, he'll be a very, very lucky man if you give him 3 years at any football club, particularly one like Liverpool, where, you know, they're used to winning things. You know, they're supporters who are like 50, 40, they can remember seeing players like Dalglish, Rush, Fowler, McManaman, you know, and the list will go on right back to Ian St John and Roger Hunt, and they're used to better. So I don't know whether they'll be patient enough, but the way he plays football, or tries to get them to play football, is the Liverpool way, you know, to pass it and that. But we'll see. I think Liverpool supporters will have to be patient.
That's exactly what Kashmir asked. He asked, who do you think would be the perfect manager for Liverpool?
What about you?
Well, the perfect manager for Liverpool was a man called Bill Shankly at a time when the club was being built. And he passed that on to Bob Paisley, to Joe Fagan, to Ronnie Morant, to Roy Evans. And there was like a passing on of a sort of legacy. And then I think when Rafa Benitez and Graham Souness to start with, and then other managers came in, it had to change. But they can't seem to get that back at the club that they had before, which was, you know, what a privilege it was to play for Liverpool Football Club. Genuinely, you were lucky to be able to pull on that shirt, was where Bill Shankly started, and you were. To play in front of these people every week, you're the luckiest person in the world. It's hard to get that now because Liverpool's evolved, just like the world we live in's evolved, and there's not so many guys. You've got Carragher still there, you've got obviously Steven Gerrard who played his 600th game, and you've got a young lad called Sterling coming through, and a couple of others. Kelly. So maybe 2 or 3 years' time, it will be a good time for Liverpool.
But the catalyst was Bill Shankly, wasn't it? Is Brendan Rodgers another Bill Shankly? Because that's what Liverpool need at this moment.
Or is he the right man for the job?
Well, incredibly, when Bill Shankly's first 2 games for Liverpool,
4-0
they lost 4-0
yeah.
and 4-0.
Yeah.
Now, if Brendan Rodgers had done that, they'd probably call him for his head. And yet, they stuck with Bill Shankly, and the rest's history. So, you know, I mean, Sir Alex Ferguson, for all the good he's done at Man United, was about 2 games away, or maybe 1 game away from the
Mark
sack.
Robbins saved him.
Yeah, Mark Robbins saved him. That was a big mistake by Mark Robbins.
But Kevin, do you think Rodgers is in that class of Sir Alex Ferguson and Shankly? Because they both had real track records beforehand. Rodgers has done nothing in terms of success.
But I think he's got the potential, the idea that he's got, Brendan Rodgers has got, the philosophy that he's trying to bring to Liverpool is what they need to move in the right direction. I think he's the man.
His best record is a mid-table, admittedly with Swansea, but a mid-table finish.
But to be fair, you know, it's a difficult question to answer because time will be the judge. But when Bill Shankly came there, he didn't come with winning leagues. He'd been at Huddersfield, he'd been at Workington, you know. So he wasn't really the Bill Shankly that we became to know. The first year he was trying to rebuild the team, he changed it, and then he rebuilt the team again when I came after the others. So, you know, I think the Liverpool fans in Brendan Rodgers at the moment see something they like, a style of play that they think, wow, this could develop.
I've got to ask you, do the boards are making decisions, because it was the board who got rid of Penny. It wasn't the fans who got rid of Penny, and board interference got rid of you at Newcastle, or you resigned as a result of board interference. Has football management changed?
Oh wow, incredibly. I mean, when I left Newcastle, it's because the owner fetched in 2 players and said, have your photo with these, we've just signed them. And I said, I had nothing against the guys, they're nice guys. I said, I'm not having any players come into the club that I don't know about. You know, so, but I think it's like that on the continent. But in England, I mean, Bill Shankly, I mean, he would go and watch the players, he would send Ruben Bennett, who was and a guy called Jeff Twentyman, they would go and watch. And I know the game's different now, but you can't, it's very difficult if you give a manager a player, because imagine you're all in my team and he's been given to me by the chairman's saying he's got to play, and you guys know he's not my signing.
He's crap.
And you know he's from Manchester United. Nothing against that. No, I wouldn't hold that against you. You're good enough to play. You know what I mean? It's very difficult, because if I play him, you think, oh, he's only playing him because the guy's upstairs. And if I don't play him, the chairman's saying he's not playing him because I bought him. Yeah, I mean,
You can't win.
You can't win, so don't even try. You know, just do the honourable thing and say, you want to run your football club that way, it's not with me. You know, I don't work that way. I can't work that way, and it's not what he told me. So,
But modern managers have got to work that way. The Brendan Rodgers and
but
the
if they
Villas
go in
Boas.
understanding that that's the rules, that's okay. But you know, my guy said no player will come in here without your say so, and then they fetched 2, and I don't even. I mean, Ignatius Gonzalez was from Uruguay playing in Spain. I didn't even know him. You know, I mean, don't say that lightly. I didn't know the guy. You know.
What about this role of director of football that they have now? I mean, that's to they recruit a lot of players that managers don't know about, maybe not like.
Well, it's a difficult one again in England because of the mentality. We're not used to it, but of course now in the Premier League, there's hardly any English managers. There's a few Scottish ones, and the rest are, you know, you've got Martinez, you've got Bola.Mamak, you've got, you know, Di Matteo.
Yeah.
So they're probably happy to say, you get the players and I'll play them, because that's more what they do in Italy, in Spain. But you know, if you want an English manager, at least I mean, Sir Alex Ferguson, I can assure you, if Martin Edwards or someone said, by the way, Alex, we bought this player, here he is, I mean, wow, you know, there'd be more than a hairdryer coming out, you know?
It's just he goes out and buys babies.
When Lai asked you this, which is the best player you've ever played with?
Wow.
Good
I've
question.
played with some great players.
Wow.
It depends what you mean by what great. You know, I mean, great professionals, great ability, great character. I mean, the one who got every ounce of his ability as a player when I was managing was Alan Shearer. You know, so I'm talking about managing. I played against Pelé when he was 38. He was magnificent. I played against Cruyff, who was a genius. I played against Maradona when he was 19 at Wembley. He was just unbelievable. And Don Revie asked me to mark Franz Beckenbauer, mark him. And I said to Don Revie, the England manager, I said, I'm a forward. He said, yeah, but he's their best player, go and mark him.
That's a massive compliment to you then.
I couldn't mark him. I couldn't get near the guy. I said to him after, I know him quite well, I said, you shouldn't be at the back, you should be in the midfield. You know, you're too good to be at the back. You thought you'd close him down and then he just put it by you. But playing ability, the player I enjoyed playing with most was Trevor Brooking, and obviously John Toshak. Trevor Brooking for England, John Toshak at my club, because John Toshak and myself, we only did simple things, but we did them well, you know, and sometimes people try and complicate football too much.
Yeah.
You know, if he was going up for a ball, I knew he'd win it. So that's why I thought the Andy Carroll Suarez partnership might work, but the game's changed and people say it can't.
Yeah.
But there's no proof of that. You know.
Can you share with the guys that story about the Gosses Tosh when you had the telepathic understanding and you went into the radio show and...
Oh yeah. Well, it cut it down. But the local, it was a kick-off. It was a TV. They put 2 cameras, one each end, and they thought we were telepathic because we were so, yeah, you know, we seem to know what each other. And they were, you can imagine, I'm sat this way looking at the camera, and Toshi's behind me, and the lady from Salford University said, look, you know, you've got a square here, try and make out what you think it is in your mind, and let's see if John Toshak can pick it up, and vice versa. So Toshi went first, and I got none out of 5. So they switched it round, and I picked up this green circle. So I thought, grass. And I'm really trying to do it properly. Circle, centre circle. And John Toshak went, is it a green circle? So I said, yeah, well done. So I picked up a yellow triangle now. So I thought of a coward, custard, and a triangle. I'm thinking of road signs. And he said, is it a yellow triangle? And he got 5 out of 5, see? So the lady from Salford packed up and went. And I said to Toshi, I said, I can't believe I got none out of 5. And you got 5. I said, this telepathy, it must be one way. He said, no, he said, that's why I'm the clever one in this partnership. He said, I looked in the lens of your my camera, and it reflected into yours, and I could see. He said, and that's why I'm the clever one in this partnership. But the lady was pleased with it. She thought we were telepathic.
Okay, and Ashwin, a VJ out there, he wants to know of your relationship with Fergie. Speaking of Fergie, since we're on the topic.
Wow.
There's nothing I wouldn't do for Sir Alex, and there's nothing he wouldn't do for me, and we spent our whole lives doing absolutely nothing for each other.
Very nice answer.
We get on good. He stitched me up a couple of times. He asked me to go to Scotland for a charity thing for him, and I was in Newcastle. He said it's just over the border, and 2.5 hours later, I was still 100 miles away from the place, and I phoned him up and I said, I thought it was just over the border. He said, well, it is, but it's in Fife, and you've got to go over. I had to go past Edinburgh. I mean, it's like, took me about 4 hours. So he got me again there as well. He stitched me up a couple of times.
Okay, now Darren Tiao wants to know how you felt after Collimore's squad winner in the famous 4-3 loss to Liverpool. Do you then question your football philosophy of doesn't matter how we concede as long as we score more than you?
Well, everyone said that was our philosophy, but you know, if you look at football now, and they said we only had one defender in our side, which, you know, they're called Darren Peacock at that time. We had John Beresford and Steve Watson and these players. But if you look at football now, that's exactly what Barcelona are doing. Barcelona are playing with a midfield player from Liverpool playing in the back four. So in some ways, you know, I'm not saying we were ahead of our time, but what we were trying to do is our teams are trying to play now. You know, we didn't have that many big guys. We played it on the floor. We played good football. And it would have been good to win a league because everyone kept saying, you can't win a league playing like this. But, you know, look how close we came. We could. But I think, had we won there, it would have changed England football thinking, you know, let's get it on the floor, let's play some smaller players. And they're doing that now, you know. So we still, if you go around England, you could be a Man United fan, you could be an Everton fan, you could be a Bristol Rovers fan. Your second favourite team was Newcastle, you know? So we put Newcastle on the map without winning anything, and that's a sad thing. It would have been nice to win something, but, you know, if you only count winning and being successful by medals, there's a lot of great players never won a medal. Steve Gerrard, you know, I mean, he won't get the medals he's got, you know, so Matt Letitia never won a medal, I don't think. He's a great player. Gascoigne. Sorry?
And this one has got nothing to do with football. Keegan Gopal, he asked you, how is it like being born on Valentine's Day?
Well, I suppose he's born on Valentine's Day. I'll tell you what it is, you don't get any cards at all, you know? You don't get any Valentine cards because people think, oh, you get loads. You don't get any birthday cards because people think it's Valentine's Day. So, it's like being born on Christmas Day, you know? It's fun, you know, it's not fun. You just don't know.
And you only get one gift, right? It's your birthday and Valentine's.
One?
Roll into one.
I don't get that many.
Kevin, you used to play with Harimau team in Malaysia.
With?
Harimau team.
Yes. You know, I'm a Malaysian international player.
Back in 1984.
That was 1984.
I played with the Harimau in 1984 in the Merdeka tournament, and I really enjoyed it. A great set of young players.
So how do you find the Malaysian players? Their professionalism, their quality?
Well, I only played a couple of games, I think, and I found them at that time. I remember these were very young players, and I was 34. I said to them before the game, it was so hot, I said, you run and give me the ball, and I'll walk and pass it back to you, you know? It was like walking into a sauna, you know? I remember that.